if you think about Facebook, if you think about Virgin, we all know those people. We know who's behind those companies. We know where they come from. We know what their story is. So having a successful brand often is very, very important to have a very successful story behind that brand, because people need to connect. So nowadays, we're surrounded by great stories all the time. So, you know, on our Facebook, on LinkedIn, online, like the quality of story that we're getting is just better and better and better all the time. But that's now what people expect, and your customers are the same people. So if I go onto your website and it says, you know, we started the company in 2010 because we wanted to make the world a better place, like that's fine, but you know, why? What was your reason? Where did you come from? What was the background behind that? And I think that we find it challenging because we don't know where to start. Like for a lot of people, they think, well, you know, I don't want to talk about myself, or it's not interesting. That's what I hear an awful lot from people that I work with, is they say, oh, it's not really interesting. Or they don't know which parts of it will resonate with an audience. And I guess this is where you know, my background comes into it, because after years and years of working as a journalist, I know as soon as somebody says something to me, I'm like, that's it, that's the piece, that's the thing that everyone will connect with. Anyone and everyone. I guess for me, what I see with people is that this kind of session is really good for founders and CEOs, because the founder needs to be the person who tells the core story or the origin story of the business. It has to come from them, because it was their heart, it was their idea, it was their passion that started it in the first place. So they really need to be involved in this process. For people who are involved with a bigger company, from the marketing point of view, it's very good for anyone who's working with marketing and PR with companies as well, because, you know, things have changed, as you know, we say, like, things have changed dramatically in the way that we communicate. So it's very important that they're also on board with how we're going to communicate in the future, and how much we need to be able to get to that authentic, real story, and that's the heart of the business. And also for individuals, some of my clients are people who will come along and say, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I work in this industry. I want to move, I want to develop, I want to move up the chain. And so to have a personal brand story is very important too, so that you can go, well, this is who I am, and this is what I've achieved so far, and this is where I've come from. Because all of it comes back to connection. How do you connect with people? And it's that sense of connection that will benefit all of us. So I think that really, I mean, it's beneficial across the board. You will leave knowing how to start. You'll go, oh, okay, that's how I do it. This is how I start. And so we'll give you the tools and the toolkit into how to create your own story. So we'll work through that. In that session, we'll work through, here are the key steps that you need to take in order to build a story. And it's a very easy, simple process. And all you need to do is to start with a few words. So you'll go away from that going, okay, I now know my own journey. I know how I got here, and I know how I'll be able to structure that story. We'll also talk about how you then use that story to communicate with journalists and with media, and what are the best ways to approach media, why you need to do it in a certain way, and why people generally are doing it all wrong, and what you need to do in order to get the attention of a journalist. And we'll also talk through, how do you present that story. So once a journalist does call you and say, we want to do your story, how do you go about working through that? What are the tips and the tricks that you should use in order to engage successfully with journalists?